for joining in, everyone. Sip of coffee to the working man. Holiday edition of Bench Talk Live. Real excited to answer some cues, talk some bench press, get you guys stronger coming into the new year. It's Santa Ben here. Welcome to the show. We kick off the show right here. Swig of coffee for the working man. See my pigskin mug. It's gonna be a great show. Awesome questions came in the other day. We'll let a few people file in here before we get started. Excited to talk bench with you guys. It's Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. You know where you can find me every week. Right here on YouTube, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, Bench Talk Live. Let's get some people joining in here. Bring your bench questions. Bring the best you got. Let's talk bench. Let's talk football, whatever you want to talk. Let's talk the holidays. Let's talk Christmas. Let's talk Hanukkah. This is Bench Talk Live, guys. All right, without further ado, let's get into some bench questions here. Let's get into some bench questions. Enough jazz. All right. First question. This was a great one. Came in from Matt the other day. And he asks, if you want to build the triceps, could they have their own workout separate from benching? Yes, they can. They can. And I do encourage that. I think that's a great strategy. It doesn't always work out well for people's schedules, but if you can make it work, I do like doing separate workouts. Like if you can separate your main work from your accessory work, do accessory work later in the day or something. I find that to be ideal. If you can swing it, if you can set it up. If you have to train at night, you're kind of making do, putting it all together. You could also do your accessories next day, but then you're already kind of having the fatigue of the bench. So you could definitely train them on a separate day, especially if you're so worn out from main effort or the main work. It's really tough to get yourself to bring the same intensity for the accessories. So splitting it up is a good idea. What I've been doing actually in my training is after benching, I'll try to get some accessory triceps in. I'll try to do something. I'm training triceps quite often. And then I'll also have separate workouts where I just blitz the triceps. We're talking just tons of sets, just smashing triceps only. Putting a lot of volume on the triceps. And I like that combo. Just hit it often, hit it hard. Triceps are a major player in the bench press. So that was a great question. So I do like to see those two things get separated out a bit. Get some more people here filing into YouTube. Sip of coffee to you. Everyone out doing their holiday shopping, I suppose. Mall near me is pretty packed. Everyone out doing their last minute shopping. I don't know about you guys, but I much prefer online shopping. Just not because I don't necessarily like the crowds, but it's just super convenient. But man, this year, and also I can find what I'm looking for a lot better online, than trying to browse multiple stores. I'm an in and out kind of guy. I don't want to spend a bunch of time at the mall unless there's food involved. But I've been noticing a lot of missed packages this year. I'm like missing a quarter of the things that I actually ordered in. So Christmas this year is going to be a lot of IOU because, a lot of shipping delays. Packages, which happened to me last year too. My Amazon packages went missing. I don't know how that happens, but they go missing and whatever. I had to reorder them. But what's up, Royston? I'm doing well, bud. How you doing? Thanks for joining in Bench Talk Live. It is Santa Ben here. You know where to meet me. Sip of coffee to you. We're dropping bench cues, talking bench press. Guys, drop your cues below or whatever the hell you want to talk about. Let's discuss. I got some other questions here came in through Instagram. Remember, check out our Instagram stories on Mondays. That's where you can post your cues for the Q&A. I'm gonna also start making a post on YouTube so you guys can actually direct your questions there as well. Damn good French vanilla. That's what I like. Drop some cues. Let's drop some topics. Let's shoot the shit. What's going on, guys? What's going on? What you been up to? Getting a lot of Christmas shopping in? Getting ready for the holidays? What you got going on? Excited for the new year? Go hunting? Go ice fishing? Go normal fishing if you're warm? I didn't get much fishing in this year. I usually like to go out with my dad quite a bit in the boat. Didn't really get a chance to do that. Plus, with the whole trying to stay distance and shit like that. So, not a great year for fishing. Tried to go out a few times on my own. I have the worst luck freaking fishing. I break my poles. I lose poles. I snag lures. They're gone forever. It's a mess every single time. Every single time. I need to go to an area where they got some of those big fish. All right, because the ponds that I'm fishing in ain't nothing there, and I'm not much of an ocean guy. The deep sea fishing thing, I like doing it, but I much prefer usually just a quiet lake. I'm gonna get on a boat or a kayak or something, still water kind of guy. Um, and it's all ocean around here. So, Matthew, damn, you said you're not much of an ocean guy. I was going to say come visit me in Florida. I mean, I'm not opposed to ocean. I went deep sea fishing actually with my dad and my grandfather a few years back out in Tampa. And yeah, that was an experience. I haven't been deep sea fishing since I was young. That boat was a rocking. I mean, there's times when you're on like one side and all you see is ocean and multiple people getting sick. Luckily, I don't really have a problem with that. The key is kind of stare at out in the distance. You start like the guy was trying to play chess in the boat. That's rocking. I mean, trying to focus in on that and that all that shit moving around on you, you're gonna get sick. But we caught a lot of fish. Nothing huge, but immediately once you drop the line in, they find the schools. Bam, you got a fish. So it's fun. It's exciting, but yeah, I'm a quiet kind of lake guy. I want to get on a nice lake, still water. No one else around, not much noise. There's some nice peaceful lakes back home in Massachusetts near me, and I really enjoy that. I just enjoy the atmosphere more so than catching anything anyway. And I always just put them back. I'm not trying to cook them up or nothing. Matt says, I already put on 5 pounds this past week, and Texas has huge bass. Man, I would love to come out to Texas, get some fishing in, catch some of those huge bass. I would be down for that, Matt. Already put on 5 pounds this past weekend. That's a good start to the bulking cycle, right? Unfortunately, I can't put on that much weight. I have to stay. I kept myself very strict range, 235 to 240 pounds, so that I can make, a pretty easy weight cut going into attacking the single ply record. It's really awesome. Greg Powell, shout out to him. He saw my post about I was training. I already kind of broke down the shirt. It was like 2 sessions in. There's definitely some stuff I could do to kind of keep it tight. And we're trying to do boards now so I don't break in the shirt so much. But the single ply shirts stretch so much on you. And for me, I can handle a really, really tight shirt, but it doesn't stay tight for long. So he was gracious enough because I was talking about I'm gonna need this training shirt to last me, and then I am planning to still get a brand new shirt to take into the meet. However, he reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, I got shirts here," and he sent it out to me, no cost. Awesome dude, trying to help me out, breaking his record, and can't say enough good things about Greg. Got to compete with him a few times now. Met up with him at the Arnold this past year, and just awesome dude to talk with and really look up to him, and hopefully one day I can be in his position where I can help out some younger lifters and maybe help someone along to break my record. Hopefully I stay healthy to try to attack that in March. Let's see. Adobe Gains proper morning. Your favorite accessory exercise that has added to your bench the most. So it always depends because you're always chasing the weak link, right? So at different periods of time, I'd say different accessory movements I contribute more to my success. So in the past, it might have been upper back. I would hit upper back a lot more in the past, and that shot my bench up. I think now, as of recent, what's really helped shoot my bench up is just all the tricep work that I've been doing. Um, I've been doing just these blitz sessions. I got back into commercial gyms because I used to love going to commercial gyms. Obviously growing up, Gold's near me back home in Massachusetts, and I love using machines. I love almost training like a bodybuilder for accessories. Focusing on muscle groups you're trying to train, all that. I really enjoy that. Pop your pre-workout as you go into the gym. The whole atmosphere, being around everyone, I miss that. Out here, when I first moved here, I mostly was involved in powerlifting circles. So powerlifting gyms a little bit different. It's not the same thing. It's not the machines. It's not the same feel. You could get great work in. You don't need much. You could be very bare minimal, but it's just a different environment. And the gyms that I was going to out here, actually, as I was a personal trainer at Big Al's Family Fitness when I first came out here. That was about 3 months. That not my cup of tea. I was mostly making phone calls and bothering people, so I prefer the actual training aspect. But yeah, the gyms just I didn't find any that had that kind of environment. It wasn't until this past September, I believe, that I started going out to a Gold's Gym near me, and I knew a guy who trained there, and it looked like a really cool setup there, nice environment, and it is fun training over there. As of recent, I've moved over to Ultimate Gym in another area, and that's one of those real old school kind of iron things. Bodybuilders train there, powerlifters as well. They do have some really cool equipment coming in. So hasn't really been until September where I started hitting that stuff. So to come back to your question there, my friend, I'd say it's a lot of just training those types of things I haven't trained in so long. Getting on some of those row machines, slamming triceps. I mean, I go in there, I'm in out 30 minutes, and I destroy my triceps. I hit all kinds of cable push downs, skull crushers, do some close grip benching, some machines. I'll just slam the shit out of the triceps. And man, am I been sore after those sessions. So I'd say that's been the biggest contributor so far. Since I started going there, my bench has really felt super strong to the point where I was able to handle 900 pounds to one board, which was really phenomenal, seeing as how after my weight loss this year I was hitting 730 my last meet, so it was a great turnaround. Let's see, guys, let's see. Riza, what's up, Riza? Thanks for joining in. Coach, I try lose my back tightness a lot in the bottom, and I believe it's due to weak lower trap activation. What do you think? That certainly can be the case. The key there is that you are trying to lock those scaps down to your hips. And the other thing you can think about is reaching your chest to the bar. That's a common cue used to get the same effect. You need upper back activation. But the thing is, when I tell someone you need to drag your shoulder blades towards your hips, they relax the pinch too much. Actually, not much movement occurs when you're depressing the scaps down. Okay, let me see if I can show you guys here. All right, I keep that scap pinched, right? And then I'm just trying to, it's just that. You don't even see it. You don't even see it. Look at that. Pinch, and then down. I'm not losing my pinch. I can't lose my pinch. That's real important. Can't lose that pinch. But when I'm trying to depress down and get that positioning locked in, right, squeeze, and then it's just that. And just doing that, my back is lit up. I'm shaking, all right? But that's all it is. You're not trying to, because a lot of times you'll try to do all this movement and see all this movement I can create, but I'm losing my pinch. I'm not able to stay pinched. If I stay pinched and pull down, not much movement there. So when you talk about depressing your shoulder blades down, you're not going for movement necessarily. You're just trying to feel that activation. So hopefully that helps out, my friend. Bypass screensaver. Should someone take a week off of training every 8 to 12 weeks? I don't see why they would need to. I mean, you're talking deloads. Yeah, we have planned deloads in the training throughout, and a lot of times it's just usually using a variation that's going to allow you to Still train heavy, but not use as much weight. So that might look like for some of our equip lifters, for example, you won't be in the shirt, but you'll be in like a Titan Ram or a slingshot. You're still going to go for like a 3 rep max or something, but you're not going to be handling the type of weight that you would handle in a shirt. As for me, I usually handle about 20% or so less than I do in a shirt in my Titan Ram. So that's what I'll use for deloads. Plus, you don't have that shirt cutting into you. That's actually what did me in last session. It wasn't, fatigue or anything like that. It was just the shirt cut nasty into the bottom of my tricep, really inflamed the area, was swollen, couldn't really extend it, and I'm still kind of working back from that. But it was actually the shirt cutting into my arm that did me in, and nothing else really. But so a deload like that every 4 or 5 weeks or something like that. It's really individual. It depends if you need the rest and recovery or not. Matt, you're from Tampa. That's awesome, bud. Well, my grandparents actually lived down there, and that's why we were going down there and visiting and staying a week down there. But they actually recently moved up this past October, moved back up to Massachusetts. So probably won't be down there quite as often now. Still love that area, and hey, who knows? Because hopefully this year there'll be a lot more traveling in the books for me, bench clinics. Going to meets with our lifters, all that stuff. So hopefully maybe I can find my way back out there. And with bench clinics, guys, I'm trying to put some more on the schedule. If you know a good place, maybe a powerlifting gym, some gym that might be set up to host our clinics, let me know. I'll reach out to them. All right, and I'd love to set that up in your area. Let's see. Royston, Coach, I started having shooting shoulder pain on my left shoulder while bench pressing. What is the cause of it? Especially while I'm getting stronger and making progress right now. So, and also, I got a lot of questions in the other day on injuries. And listen, guys, I know shoulder pain, definitely something that plagues a lot of lifters. My shoulder really screwed me from January to about August this year. All right, and I get the frustration. A lot of times it hinders what you're able to do, but that is not my area of expertise. Diagnosing exactly what's going on when it comes to what's happening with your shoulders, because it really could be so many different things or different positions that kind of trigger that. So it's really tough with these injury questions, guys. I really want to help you guys out, but the best way to work on that is just to avoid it altogether. Make sure you're staying in good positions. Make sure you're staying smart with your training. If you need rest, take rest. Prevention is always the best prescription for avoiding that altogether. So making sure that, right, like we were talking about, make sure your shoulders are packed down in a good position, that you're loading into your back, because all this ends up happening because you load into your shoulders. I think the reason why my shoulder ended up, something happened to it, that damn football bar wasn't able to stay in the position I want, a little bit closer grip, kind of put that stress through my shoulder, different loading, and then going right into the pull-ups, I think, finished me off. But the injury stuff is really tough, guys. I want to give you a precise answer, but you should really go get that checked out by a specialist that can do that for you. Brian, is there a free templates program for the bench press, please? No, there is none on our website. They're running about $40, but if you shoot me a message, let me know what's going on, and I can definitely help you out there, bud. So email me, coachben@bigbenches.com. We have a big goal this year, 2021. We're trying to help 100 lifters PR their bench. So, I ask if our content or anything has ever helped you hit a bench PR, then let me know, and we'll add you to the list. We're trying to get to 100. I'd like to impact positive way 100 lifters this next year, help you PR your bench. So reach out to me. Let me know. Matt, I signed up for the 242 class for March, so I got room. Yeah, so plenty of room there, my friend. I wish I was doing 242. I'd actually be skating the lines of that right now. Bypass screen shares. I love fishing for bass, but YouTube fishing is so bad. All I ever see is Guggen Squad promoting their stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to navigate YouTube. I mean, I have certain channels that I follow, but it's tough to find new stuff. So I just kind of, if a channel gets mentioned here and there, I'll check it out and then I'll subscribe to it or something. But hope y'all telling everyone subscribe to that Big Benches channel. You know where to find us, 12 p.m. Eastern time every Tuesday. Brian says, "Hey from Indonesia." Wow, bud. Well, hello from Indonesia. I don't know what to say in terms of Indonesian hellos, but I'll give you a good old American wave. What's up, bud? Mike. Morning, Santa. What's up, Mike? Can you talk about heavier weight and the central nervous system? I told Santa that I want a lift off for Christmas. That's great. Yeah, so, well, it's just the nervous system's going to have to adapt to heavier weight, and that really comes down to what you can do to prepare yourself for that is bringing more intensity to lighter weights. You hear me talk about that all the time. You know, I've shown that accessory warm up movement, the big bend holds, as I deemed it, where you get under a band and you're just trying to bring intensity to it. If you can do that with lighter weights, you're going to give yourself a training effect. It's really about getting yourself to a um, high level of stimulation in terms of being able to activate all your muscles at once. That's the biggest contributor because what the nervous system's going to do is tell those muscles to fire rather, and do that in unison, do that quickly, do that powerfully, and that's really what you're getting at. You need heavy weights to cause that adaptation. But again, what you can do to prepare yourself for heavy weights is to train really, really intently with lightweight. And what I see all too often with many lifters is, say 135. So first off, let's tackle this. Warm-ups are not structured correctly. If you're benching 200 pounds, your warm-up should not be 95, 135, 185, 200. If you're benching 400 pounds, your warm up shouldn't be one plate, two plate, three plate, four plate. You need more warm ups. You need more opportunities to get yourself ready for what you're doing for the day. All right. Just throwing a quarter or a plate on the bar just because that's the next step does not cut it. You want to, if you have to take 115 pounds, if you're a 200-pound bencher and you're working up to something, you want 115 pounds, take the time to put the extra change on there. Try to structure your jumps so that they're even, or, they dwindle down as you're getting to your working weight. But you want more warm-ups and you want to structure them properly. You don't want to just do the casual, throw the quarter on, throw the plate on. You don't want to do that. The other thing you want to do, I see lifters all the time, again, 135 on the bar, something really light, man. They're just kind of floating through. There's no intensity there. They're not using their legs much because it's lightweight. Why would you have to? But if you're a lifter who trains with the light weights intently, you take 135 and you focus on bringing the same intensity that you would take 400 pounds with, and you explode into that weight with everything you got and pretend that that's max effort in your hands, you are going to be way ahead of everyone else when it comes to that. So one of the biggest things that tips I could give everyone is just you have to train intently. All right, you have to train intently. Use the slow tempo stuff for accessories or where needed, but you are training intently when it comes to the main movement. It's a great question, though, Mike. Salmon fish. I usually get confused when I lift because there are so many cues I force my brain to remember. Any advice? Well, my advice to you, my friend, because that's a common thing, is just focus on one thing. Okay, and I know it's easy to get caught up on wanting to fix everything, but you can't fix everything at once. When a lifter first joins our coaching program, I have to start from the basics because I don't know where their knowledge base is currently at. I start with the setup. Okay, I start with components of the setup and I teach it slowly. I teach it in time because you're not going to get it all down at once. And it's as soon as I start giving too many cues, progressing too quick, a lifter needs time to adapt to that first cueing. You need time to make that become second nature to a point you don't have to think about it anymore. If you're trying to think about too much stuff at once, it's going to be a disaster. what I'd encourage you to do, and kind of ripping the cat out of the bag here a little bit. And I'm hoping in 2021 I can get to this, but I'm looking to make a training journal for lifters. There's nothing out there for lifters, for power lifters in specific. You got your typical training journals where you're logging weights and this and that. Our lifters don't need really a journal to log weights and all of that. I want to make a training journal that stimulates your mind towards technique. So I'm talking about a training journal in which there's questions that are going to prompt you to think about different answers, and it's really geared towards writing down focal points, focal technique points. You'll probably have a section to log your weights as well, but this is something I want to create. And I know it's really needed for power lifters, but that'll help keep you on track. I always tell our lifters, hey, try to just have a journal. You don't have to, because we record things in an app, so you don't have to do it for the weights and stuff, but have a journal for when I give you feedback. Write down those things that you need to work on, and then open that journal next training session. You can see, hey, I need to work on this today, but it's only one cue. All right, you got to master that first before moving on. So that's the best way to approach it, because again, it's very easy to get lost in thinking this and that and all these different cues. Sip of coffee to the working man. Santa Ben's in the house in my pigskin. Pats are out of the hash browns coming up the throat. Not Corona. All right, sip of coffee to the working man. Pats are out of the playoffs. First time in a really long ass time. I guess this is how it feels to be a regular old football fan now. So I guess I just got to deal with it. I guess I'm a Bucks fan. I don't know. I guess I'm a Chiefs fan. I hate the Chiefs, but I think Pat Mahomes is crazy, and they're fun to watch. We used to have an explosive offense. Feels like forever ago, but it's sure fun to watch. Matt, do you like to do your bench workout earlier in the week before a separate tricep workout? How long in between workouts? Great question there, Matt. So the way I'm structured right now, and maybe it's not ideal, but it's kind of the structure we're working with, because especially with an equipped lifter, I mean, you are working around other people's schedules too. I mean, you rarely set your own schedule because you got to have all this coordination and help. And that's the tricky part of equipped lifting, is just I can't do it alone. I need a team. And, it's not one of those things I can just go into the gym when I want and train. I have to have that coordination with everyone. So very, very thankful for everyone who helps me out with my bench pressing. But to answer your question there, my schedule right now, I bench towards the ends of the week. So I bench on Friday, but all my training is really revolving around the bench. So I make sure that I'm rested and recovered. So usually Thursday, Friday, or if we train on Saturday, Thursday, Friday, or definitely Thursdays off. Tuesday and Wednesday is when I'll get one of those killer tricep sessions in or hit upper back. And it really varies week to week, as it depends what I'm going to do. If it's like a mixed session, I'm not putting a ton of volume on the triceps. I can train that Wednesday. Otherwise, I'll try doing it Tuesday. I have to be very careful when I train chest and shoulders, just because of the fatigue I accumulate from that. This is a weak point. Can play into the shirted benching. So I definitely try to leave that rest there. Sometimes it's not optimal. A lot of times I'm going into that shirted session with a lot of tricep fatigue, a lot of back soreness. I remember I just did a pull down session. All I did was pull downs. My back was fried for that session. My chest, oftentimes still carrying a lot of pec soreness going into that shirted session. But the way I view it, while everyone's trying to minimize, and make the perfect environment for their big lifts, I find that if I'm just in a constant state of fatigue and always pushing myself, it's not a big deal. Hey, my triceps are super sore. So what? I'm still going to be able to get the lift in. Maybe I could handle more weight if my triceps weren't so destroyed. But, at the end of the day, when I have that week of recovery before a meet, and I come in the freshest I've been the whole training cycle, I'm going to freaking own that weight. And that's my attitude towards that, is I don't always try to create this perfect environment. Yeah, I do try to minimize the stress and fatigue, and I do try to eat good around those big sessions, but it is what it is. If I'm carrying a lot of fatigue or soreness, it is what it is. I'm gonna pony up and I'm gonna get the work done. And when it comes time to it, when I need to hit it at the meet, I know that I'm gonna be at my freshest, and I'm gonna come in there and destroy that weight. Francesco Volcano. Hey man, just wanted to thank you for the tips you gave me. I've been doing 30-second holds with rows and my stability improved a lot. You are amazing, bud. Well, I really appreciate that, Francesco. I'm really glad to hear that helped you out. Yeah, that should help stability and control big time. So those static row holds, guys, those are going to be very, very useful for y'all. All right, make sure you're throwing those into your training. But very happy to hear that, Francesco. Thanks so much for joining in Bench Talk Live. Appreciate everyone tuning in here. Hey, if you want to help us out, the only thing you got to do, just tell a friend. Tell a friend. Hey, Coach Ben's channel, Big Benches. Check it out. Bench Talk Live on Tuesdays, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Let them know. It helps the podcast grow, helps us grow out to our brand and help more and impact more lifters. Again, our goal this upcoming year is to help 100 lifters PR their bench. Of course, I expect those who I coach on our team to PR their bench as they do very often. So I do expect them to add to the tally. But I'm looking for those who have impacted hitting a bench PR. Just reach out to me and be like, hey, thanks Ben for advice. I hit this new PR. I'd love to see a video of it, and yeah, I'll tally up to the list. But that's our goal. We're just trying to reach out and impact more lifters this year. Taking some more cues. I got some I want to touch on from Instagram too. Sip of coffee to you. I'm going to talk about. So I said I would expand more on this in this podcast. Can you break down the descent and the press? Elbows tucked on the initial descent and when to flare. So now this question came to me from an equipped lifter. Okay, we determined in the messages that he is not a raw lifter because I wouldn't cue any raw lifters to think about tucking their elbows or flaring their elbows. That's just not verbiage that I would use with a raw lifter. It's not going to put them in the optimal positions. As an equipped lifter is definitely a component to tucking your elbows. And how you want to ride that groove down as an equipped lifter is you want to stay wide, just row down, right? You want to set the tension in the collar first. Okay, and when you get to a point where you're getting resistance there, then you want to start coming more in that horizontal down direction towards the belly. Reach the belly, and then you start to tuck the elbows, almost in like an awkward kind of a tuck, because, again, the shirt's taking up that tension, so being out of alignment in that bottom position is not a big deal, but you need to kind of work that touch to get that weight down into position. And then flaring the elbows is not something I ever cue. Reason being is that it's usually just going to happen naturally. It's not really going to be something you have to think about. You're not going to want to stay in that tuck position when you press. But if you think about flaring your elbows out, usually the elbows flare out so soon that the bar's out in front of you now, almost like that dump touch position, and then you're going to have a hell of a time trying to get it by. Rather than staying under the weight, just thinking about keeping your back tight and just punching through it. It just kind of happens naturally. So that's usually how I cue that. Okay? As a raw lifter, forget all of that. Can you get stronger while cutting weight? Now, this one, yes, you can. You certainly can. Is it tough to do? Yes, it is. More so because your body composition is changing. You do have to be careful, like how you manipulate carbs around the workout so that you're fresh and ready to go for a good performance. And that's the thing as a powerlifter. If you're bodybuilding or whatever, I mean, you're not in tune too much with the performance aspect of it. You're just trying to, hit what weight you can and do your reps and break down muscle. When you're powerlifting, it's a performance. It's just like playing a sport. You're trying to lift the most weight possible. So you need to make sure you're fueled for that. But the tough part's when you start making body composition changes. Listen, I finished 2019 with an 820-pound bench. Felt fantastic. I come into this new year, I lose 25 pounds, and it becomes really, really hard to handle these heavier weights. And for the first time ever, I had the safeties propped up, and I usually, my belly is way beyond the safeties, but I actually took a bench where I was trying to touch, and I ended up hitting the safeties in the same spot I've always had them, as my belly just wasn't there. So I'm actually traveling a bit further with the weight. Um, but that's what you're going to experience. The bench is usually the first to drop when you're cutting weight. Once you level out, we find when you level out with your weight, then you can start building back up, and it happens pretty quickly. So right now, like 900 to a one board, I was able to handle. I'm hitting all these crazy PRs, repping out in the 800s. So I mean, it comes back to you, but you do have to give yourself time to level out. I had to level out for a good 3 or 4 months before really started seeing a lot of progress again. All right, so it's just one of those things. But hey, it worked out because now I'm in a lighter weight class with a chance here to, hopefully I'm trying to set this single ply world record this upcoming March, and then we're gonna set our eyes on the multiply world record, which is sitting around 906, I believe, right now for 220. So a couple of records we're trying to take, and that'd be pretty cool to take two different divisions there, the single and the multi, in 1 year, one weight class. So we're trying to do that. And I have no interest in the banded shirt stuff. Not my style of benching. Not something I particularly enjoy, and definitely doesn't play to my strength. So I'm not gonna throw on a bench daddy anytime soon, or Rob Farrell's Kruger shirt. Probably not gonna see me do that. Just no interest. Especially that they created their own division now. As a what's it called? The I forget the name of the division, but they have their own division now. So it's not included with single and multiply, which I think is a good idea. Matt, I wore my big benches hat last night squat, and then I was throwing the weight around. I don't know what you blessed that hat with, but it's amazing. Well, Matt, all our hats are first blessed with holy water. I do a little chant, I do a little prayer. I set some candles. I do what I got to do to it. I fill the room with a scented candle. And, there's a whole process involved. So that's a very special hat, my friend. And yes, it's very, very blessed. There's a lot of good mojo on it. And it will help you tremendously with your bench press. So I would keep wearing that hat. JC, when you have a question about squats, but the channel is called Big Benches. Yeah, I don't. I'll take your squat question here if you want. Bench Talk Live. Hey, it's Bench Talk Live, but I'll talk about whatever. But we do post content on squats and deadlifts. I do share a lot of stuff on how to improve those lifts too. So if you enjoy our bench content, if you want to check out our membership program, we're actually going to be switching platforms soon, but there's all that content accessible through our membership program. So if you want to sign up for that, you can go to bigbenches.com and you'll be able to access all those videos as well. And I also have our training recaps on there where I take you through what I'm doing in my training and all that. So, a lot of good stuff through our membership, and we're expanding it even more in 2021, which I'm really excited about. So, if you do want some squat and deadlift help, and you enjoy the videos we put out now, I'm sure that'll help you tremendously. So, I encourage you guys to check that out. And I want to touch on one more from Instagram the other day. How does rotating sleeves affect the shirt? So we're talking about torquing the sleeves is what it's also called. So if you put your hand, let's see if I show you guys, supinated, right? I put my hand into the sleeve supinated. When I go horizontal, it's going to tighten up that chest plate. It's going to pull it down and tighten that thing up. Therefore, it's just a way to jack up the shirt, so to speak, shirt adjustments. Similar to how if you pull down the collar, it's going to expand, it's going to be tighter. More support if you pull down the tricep seam. Same thing, putting your hands in like that, torquing the bench shirt, the sleeves, does help make the shirt a lot tighter. Do you need to do that? Well, that really depends. That depends on the scenario. So, that's usually last ditch effort. If I really need some more tension, I'll look to do what I can to adjust the collar first and do the sleeves. The sleeves is like my main point of adjustment. I'll get my collar usually around the same spot each time. But it's really the sleeves. How far I wear them down the arms is my biggest adjustment point. JC, okay, thanks, fam. Do you know anything about people hyperextending their back out of the hole? I go down the neutral back, but I'm hyperextended on the concentric. So, with that type of scenario there, what I like to cue our lifters is lead with the belly when you're in the squat. Okay, so that gets you into that neutral position, because you want to come down how you're going to come up. So you don't want to hit the hole trying to be so upright and extended. And then once you hit the hole and try to come up, you're going to default into that position you should be in, because you're not going to have a strong brace if you're extended. You want that rib cage over the pelvis. And when you're coming out of the hole there, if you came down, you descended in a poor position where you weren't really braced, you're going to see a lot of changes there. You say you get into a hyperextended position, however, so I would not cue yourself like chest up or anything like that. I would cue yourself to probably drive through the heels and lead with the belly or the mid back is how I would explain it. Make sure you're driving with your back, not lifting through your chest. But yeah, that's a very common thing. So hopefully that helps you out. That's my favorite cue. It's just trying to focus in on leading with the belly between the quads. Um, because you need to keep some lean forward typically, especially if you're low bar. Because you want to have a good strong brace midsection, and you need that rib cage stacked over the pelvis. If one is extended or whatever, you're not going to have good bracing pattern. Take a few questions here. We're out of Instagram questions. Some coffee to the working man. Hope you're all having a fantastic holiday season. Hope you all have your plans ready for Christmas or whatever you guys are celebrating. I've got the presents wrapped behind me. How you got it, JC? Take a few more questions here, guys. We'll wrap it up until next week. Next week, we will be having a Bench Talk Live. Same time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube. Hopefully, I'll have good Christmas stories to share. We'll do a little Christmas story thing. I might still wear the hat. Maybe I'll wear the beard too. I don't know. Guess you'll have to tune in to find out. How do you like to hit your hamstrings in isolation? So I'm a big fan of doing like stiff leg deadlifts, doing it sumo style, doing a barbell RDL. I love if I'm in commercial gym type thing, they have the lying hamstring curl. I love the lying hamstring curl. Also, there's a lot of value I've found in. I love doing the TRX hamstring curls too, where like your legs are suspended, you're tucking them back towards your butt. Also, if you have like a floor glider, you can do that type of thing on the floor to kind of glide your heels in towards your butt and then extend out. So, a few different ways I like to do that. Aswani Kumar, I always feel pain in my elbow and shoulder and pressing movement, sir. What can be the reason? Well, again, a little bit. I wish I could help you out, bud, but there's so much stuff that could be going on. I would look to work around it the best you can. I would see what movements don't bother you and do those for amount of time. What I usually find with people when they're dealing with injuries is this: they try to do the thing that is causing them the pain. When like my shoulder was trashed most of this year, I wasn't going to continue benching raw heavy. I wasn't going to continue doing that. It wasn't feeling good. So I did what I could. I used a lot of the Titan Ram. I used a lot of the bench shirt, doing that every week. And, it was really I had to do that. I had to do a lot more triceps. I couldn't do as much benching as I would have liked, but I was able to get that shoulder recovered, and I'm feeling great now. So, it's really just don't continue doing the things that are hurting you. Work around what you can, because a lot of times you just work around it for a period of time until things heal up, and then boom, you're right back at it. So, that's always been my approach, and I've luckily, knock on wood, I've been very, very fortunate. I haven't had any injuries, major injuries, nothing like that. So, William, same type of thing applies, my friend. I wish I could help you guys out more specifically, but I would definitely seek out the advice of a professional in that, and like PT realm and things like that. Because that's not going to be my expertise diagnosing certain injuries. All right, guys, we'll take a few more. take a few more cues. You might be wondering, I don't know if you ever looked, guys. You got that Eagles helmet behind me. That's a Donovan McNabb signed practice helmet. Who actually knows nowadays what's authentic and what's not? It's signed Donovan McNabb, signed practice helmet. Love that thing. I'm a big Eagles fan. This is my NFC team, so this year, everyone kind of sucks. Pats suck, Eagles suck. So I guess I'm a Bucks fan now. I love heavy bench. Don't want to stop. My shoulders hurt till my last sets. So I would look at what benching you can do without the problem, my friend. Get a slingshot, Titan Ram, something like that might help you work around it. But yeah, you don't want to continue doing it if it's really setting you back. Go Broncos. Yeah, I think Broncos kind of suck this year too. I mean, it kind of sucked since they lost Peyton Manning, right? Dropping bombs like Donovan McNabb. Yeah, back in the day, I loved watching Donovan McNabb, T.O. The Eagles actually, they went to like 4 straight NFC Championship games. They were great back then. Why does my left elbow tuck more than my right while benching? Typically, probably you're a little bit more restricted in one shoulder than the other. That's usually what I encounter there, my friend. So you're trying to create the same tightness on both sides, but you're more mobile on one side than the other. So you just have to work on freeing your restrictions. Take 1 or 2 more questions here. Sip of coffee to the working man. Like the Santa hat, Santa Ben in the house. Bench Talk Live. Appreciate everyone tuning in today. Okay, so for no more questions, I'm going to wrap this shindig up, and we'll meet back here next Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I just want to leave you all, guys, with Gabrielle says, love your videos. I appreciate that, my friend. Next week, Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, you know where to meet me on YouTube here, and hopefully all y'all have a happy, safe holiday season. Enjoy Christmas. Enjoy whatever you're celebrating. Enjoy being around your family and friends. Wish you all the best, and hopefully we can meet back here next Tuesday. Can join in for the Bench Talk Live. I appreciate everyone's support. You're all awesome. I'll see you next week.